Hello and welcome, Pioneer fans, to another edition of the SHU Sports Report. We took a few weeks off, but do not worry, we have all your SHU sports action coming right up. I'm Anthony Saccone.
And I'm Ryan Toohey. We had a busy month of February with multiple teams continuing the opening slates of their 2018 seasons and some that had just wrapped up their 2017 through 2018 seasons.
And why don't we get things started on this week with one of those teams that wrapped up their season in a huge way.
That's right, Anthony. Women's ice hockey looked to make quite the push in the postseason and bring back some new hardware to Fairfield, Connecticut. Hitting the ice hard, the women's ice hockey team looked to open postseason action. SHU was the 3 seed going into the New England Women's Hockey Alliance tournament, as the first round put them up against 6th seeded Post University. In the first round of play, Sacred Heart would blow by Post in a 6-0 win, advancing to the semifinal round of the tournament. There, Holy Cross awaited SHU for a battle in Manchester, New Hampshire. Holy Cross drew first blood in the matchup by scoring at the 15-13 mark in the first period, which put them up 1-0. That was all Holy Cross would be able to do against Goalie of the Year Sarah Urban, who proceeded to save the next 26 shots against her. The Pioneers broke through in the second period on a goal by senior forward Taylor Moreland, which tied the game. Freshman defenseman Jordan Sinislo then gave the Pios their first lead of the game as she scored 5 minutes into the third period. Junior forward Haley Payne provided some insurance by scoring on an empty netter, which gave the Pios a 3-1 lead and eventual victory. The next day, the third-seeded Pios competed against top-seeded St. Anselm for the NEWHA Championship. The Pios defeated St. Anselm also by a score of 3-1, thereby winning the title. Moreland had another goal on the day as she scored in the first period at the 5:58 mark. Freshman forward Lexi Edwards made it 2-0 as she scored in the second period at 14:53. St. Anselm cut the lead in half with a third-period goal, but the Pios regained the 2-point advantage on a goal by sophomore defenseman Olivia Bryant. The Pios held on to win by that score. Urban, Moreland, sophomore defenseman Jane Lewis, and Bryant were all named the all-tournament team. Congratulations to the women's ice hockey team on a great season.
The women's ice hockey team will be placing that new hardware in our brand new trophy case up at the Pitt Center for everyone to see. We also want to congratulate Coach O'Malley for being awarded NEWHA Coach of the Year.
We'll keep it with teams finishing up their postseasons as women's track and field went to Staten Island for the NEC Indoor Track and Field Championships.
The women's track and field team went into Staten Island looking for their 5th consecutive NEC title. Sacred Heart looked for their 5th consecutive win in Staten Island this past weekend, but fell just shy of the championship title. The Pioneers landed in the runner-up spot, falling to LIU Brooklyn by 3 points at the end of the tournament. The largest impacts came from senior Kate Svensson and freshman Akuduso Izenya Limba. Svensson, who was named Most Outstanding Distance Track Performer, took 2 individual titles at the championships. Svensson took first in the 3,000 and 5,000 meter events. Izenya Limba took Outstanding Field Performer in throws as she claimed her first individual title as a Pioneer. Her outstanding throw crushed the closest mark by a full meter, giving her a new personal best. Seniors Tara Connolly and Lindsay Lucas earned major points for SHU. Lucas finished second behind Svensson in the 3,000 meter event and third in the 5,000 meter event, with Connolly right behind her taking third in the 3,000 and fourth in the 5,000. With the weather feeling nicer each and every day, the track team moves from the indoors to outdoors to finish out their 2018 slate of their schedule.
From all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, we want to congratulate the women's ice hockey team and track and field teams on their postseason successes.
And stick around, Pio fans, because after the break, we will have plenty more SHU sports action coming your way with this week's Update Corner.
Welcome back to the SHU Sports Report. I'm Chris Cayozzo, and we'll get this week's Update Corner started off with a huge weekend victory by the Sacred Heart women's bowling team. The bowling team hit Long Island over the weekend as they fought their way to the top of the NEC standings. Overall, the team finished 9-3 in the 3-day tournament. The team was on pace to fight off defending NEC champion, title winner, FDU, to take the 3rd consecutive regular season title. With a little help from LIU Brooklyn, SHU found themselves claiming the regular season title before having an NEC champion title rematch with FDU. SHU finishes conference play 13-5. It will be the top seed going to the NEC tournament. Bowling hits the lanes March 10th and 11th as they compete at the USBC sectionals. The Sacred Heart women's tennis team swept Holy Cross this past Sunday 7-0, winning all of their singles and doubles matches. Junior Olivia Podropierski won her singles match with a solid 6-0, 6-0 sweep. Freshmen Kira Tobia and Laura Cravey, sophomore Adrian Alfonso, and redshirt sophomore Sabrina Navarro came just shy of sweeping their singles matches. The women's tennis team hits the road as they face off against East Carolina Monday, March 5th. The Sacred Heart men's tennis team looked to bounce back from a close 4-3 loss against Fordham as they hosted Holy Cross over the weekend. Led by sophomore Seiji Hasakawa, SHU swept Holy Cross in both singles and doubles matches. Hasakawa, along with junior Brian Entos and senior Corey Sutland, nearly swept their individual matchups. Junior Derek Chapman and Hasakawa also put on a show in doubles, walking away with the 6-1 victory. Men's tennis will be back in action on Monday, March 5th as they go on the road to play East Carolina. The men's fencing team finished third in the final team standings at the 2018 NEIFC Championships at Mount Holyoke College on Saturday. Freshman Lucas Wetmore received a bronze in the foil event, reaching the semifinals, but got defeated by the champion Noah Berger of Vassar 15-12. The Pioneers won 65 out of 88 bouts, behind MIT at 67 and Vassar, who took the win with 72. The foil and épée teams tied first in the team competitions, while the Sabre team finished 7th in team standings. The Pioneers will compete at the NCAA Regional at Brandeis University on Sunday, March 11th. The women's fencing team placed second in the final team standings at the 2018 NEIFC Championships at Mount Holyoke College on Saturday. Freshman Daria Rodakova was the only one medaled, getting a bronze in the épée event. She made the semifinals but missed the finals by one touch, losing 15-14 to Vassar. Junior Samantha Abbott finished 5th in épée. In the Sabre event, junior Hassani Austin led the Pios, taking 5th, while senior Bailey Partridge took 6th in the foil event. SHU won 76 victories out of 112 bouts, only losing to MIT, who had 93 bouts. The Sabre team finished in 3rd, while the épée team finished in 2nd out of 14 teams. Women's fencing competes next at the NCAA Regionals at Brandeis University on March 11th. The equestrian team traveled to Fairfield on Saturday, finishing as the reserve High Point team with 40 points, 7 shy of High Point team UConn. Junior Carrie Ann Johnson earned High Point rider after taking first in both open flat section B and C. Junior Emery Smith earned the team MVP on the weekend. Sacred Heart had 9 other Pioneers placed in the top 3 of 12 more events. SHU is back in action on March 3rd at Connecticut College starting at 9 a.m. The Sacred Heart baseball team started off their season 1-2 as they traveled to Norfolk, Virginia, playing Norfolk State, Stony Brook University, and Iona College. On Friday, they defeated Norfolk State 9-4. This was head coach Nick Ristano's first win. The Pios had 15 hits, and every starter reached base. 7 of SHU's players had RBIs, led by sophomore Elijah Brown and senior Dan Schock, who also added 2 doubles. Junior Brent Teller was the starting pitcher for the game. He pitched 7 good innings, only giving up 2 runs, 3 hits, while punching out 7 batters. On Saturday, they lost a close game to Stony Brook 7-6, being down 7-2 in the 9th. The Pios would rally in the 9th, but would be cut short of the tying run. Freshman Matt Sorrento led SHU with 3 hits in his first collegiate game. Sophomore Bobby Garbullo led the team with RBIs, with 2, in his first career at-bat. Senior James Tauble was the starting pitcher, who led up 3 runs on 5 hits in 3 innings. On Sunday, the Pios lost to Iona in 10 innings, 6-5. Schock was closed the weekend with his 3rd double to score 2 runs as he tied the game 5-5. Unfortunately, Iona hit a walk-off sacrifice fly to win the game. Sacred Heart will travel down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, starting a long weekend of baseball. They kick off the tournament with Southeastern Louisiana Friday the 2nd. That's all the time we have for this week's Update Corner. I'm Chris Cayozzo, and after the break, we'll have more Sacred Heart Sports.
Welcome back to the SHU Sports Report. We have just a few more sports to go over, starting with SHU Hoops, as both teams look to make a final push for NEC tournament action.
And why don't we get things started with some women's hoops?
Women's basketball is wrapping up its season with the final 3 games being played at home. SHU hosted St. Francis Brooklyn up at the Pitt Center on Saturday and came away with the win 66-60. Junior guard Erin Stork was the star player for the Piles in the game, as she led the team with 21 points on the day, which included 17 points earned after the first half of the game. She also had 2 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, and 5 rebounds. Freshman guard Olivia Dabney and redshirt junior guard Candace Leatherwood both led the team with 4 assists on the day. And finally, redshirt junior Katherine Haynes led the team with 7 rebounds. The Pioneers then faced off against LIU Brooklyn at the Pitt Center on Monday afternoon with a chance to qualify for the NEC tournament. SHU was hungry to prolong their season and did so by dominating the Blackbirds 63-43. Senior guard Tykera Carter led the team with 18 points and 7 rebounds on the afternoon. SHU finished the game by going on a 20-6 run in the fourth quarter to put an exclamation point on the victory. Sacred Heart has its final game of the regular season this Saturday, March 4th, up at the Pitt Center against Fairleigh Dickinson with a 1 p.m. tip-off.
Be sure to get out to the Pitt Center to not only support the women's basketball team, but to support SHU senior and Tykera Carter as women's basketball honors its only senior. Sacred Heart men's hoops had a big weekend as well, looking to stay alive in their hopes for an NEC tournament spot. Men's basketball had 2 games this past week, needing to win both and look for some losses from CCSU. Unfortunately, Sacred Heart split the weekend, winning their first of 2 on the road against Bryant. Sacred Heart played a phenomenal game and went on to beat the Bulldogs by a final of 94-84. SHU closed the first half on a 9-2 run and then opened the second half on a 14-4 run. This gave the Pioneers a solid lead and they never looked back. It was junior Sean Hohen who was an absolute dominant offensive force as he posted a career-high 31 points on the day. Sacred Heart then had another road game where they traveled to Brooklyn, New York to battle against NEC foe LIU Brooklyn. Late in the game, Sacred Heart cut the Blackbirds' lead to just 1 point, but LIU came storming back at the end of the second half and took down the Pioneers by a final of 88-77. Senior Joe Lopez recorded his 10th double-double of the season with 17 points and 11 boards to go along. Sacred Heart men's basketball team finishes their 2017-18 season going 10-21 overall and 5-13 in conference play.
They came so close as the week they won against Bryant, CCSU had lost their game, which made the loss even tougher in the LIU game.
And it's always tough missing out on the postseason action, but they will have the 2018-19 season to improve from this year. And let's move from men's basketball and their season wrapping up to men's lacrosse and their 2018 season just kicking off.
That's right, Anthony. The men's lacrosse team is hitting the win column hard in the opening of their 2018 season. The team opened their season going 2-1 on the road. SHU secured some solid victories against Furman and Stony Brook. Their 11-9 win over Stony Brook marked the first time Sacred Heart beat the Seawolves in program history. SHU then hosted Dartmouth this past weekend for their 2018 home opener. The Pioneers defeated the Big Greens 17-11 to improve to 3-1 on the season. Junior midfielder Max Tuttle and redshirt junior attack Joe Sagasi led the way as both had 5 goals each on the afternoon. Sophomore goalie Brooks Dutton had 9 saves on the day, and sophomore midfielder Jake Giaquinto had 8 ground balls. The lacrosse team's next game will be against Providence up at Campus Field this Saturday, March 3rd at 1 p.m.
Quite the way to start off your season, and what a way to end off this week's show.
Next week, we will be taking a break as Sacred Heart hits its spring break.
The school may be on a break, but that certainly doesn't stop SHU sports action. The following week, we will get you guys all caught up on everything SHU sports. From all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, I'm Anthony Saccone.
And I'm Ryan Toohey. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful week.